Good evening, everybody. Go ahead and get started. I'm Bill Wade. I'm the principal at Mentor High School. I thank you for coming out tonight and everybody kind of rescheduling with us as we had the snow day last week, and we're hoping to keep off a snow day for tomorrow, and I hope the snow does hold off for us so that we can, keep the kids here in school and keep moving forward. It's that time of year. It's hard to believe we're in February and we're already talking about next school year already, but that's kind of how it works when you're trying to schedule 2,600 kids in a high school. We have to start the process early so that we can get kids scheduled to figure out where we're going. And for our 8th and 9th grade parents meeting, this is important because it allows us to introduce ourselves to you to kind of get a feel for how we do things here at Mentor High School. And also, it's very important because what we do now dictates what your sons or daughters can do in the future. This is the beginning of the end. So this is a very important presentation. Like I said, again, I'm Bill Wade. I'm the high school principal. The anticipated 9th grade unit principal is Mr. John Diamond. He's over here on my left in the side. The guidance counselors next year for the Unit 9 would be Ms. Gamori. She will be working with students with the names A through L. And then Mr. Montgomery would be working with students and families M through Z. What we do with Mentor High School is you will be with that unit principal and guidance unit until your son and daughter graduates. We do that because that allows our unit principals and our guidance counselors to really get to know your sons and daughters over a 4-year process so that by the time that they're graduating, we're able to make sure that they're ready for that next step beyond high school, so that they get a chance to really work with them and get to know them and know your family to meet their needs, barring any retirements or any sort of shifts that would go on. We also have with us tonight, I won't go through everybody that's up there because not everybody's here. We do have Mr. Casella, our athletic director. He'll speak in a few moments. Our assistant principal of curriculum instruction, Mr. Jim McMahon, and our director of career tech, Mr. Jason Crow. So those people will be up on stage with us at some point just discussing some different options that exist here at Mentor High School. Kind of the agenda tonight, we're going to talk about transitions, we're going to talk about graduation requirements, we're going to talk about the scheduling process so you as parents understand what we've told your sons or daughters already at the middle school so that, because we all know as it transitions from what we say to them and comes home, sometimes it always gets lost in translation, so that we're all on the same page. Because again, scheduling is a very important process because it is what we do now dictates what they can do as sophomores and what they can do post-secondary of high school. And then last bit, talk a little about course selections, and we'll get you out of here. And when you leave today, the department chairs from the various departments will be out in the lobby to answer any questions that you may have specifically about specific courses or requirements and kind of go in those avenues as well. Life at the high school. We start at 7:22. So it's a lot earlier than any of the students have started previously. We go to 2:26. We have 8 classes. They meet for 48 minutes each. Most students, especially freshmen, have 6 classes. They'll have a lunch and a study hall. They get 5 minutes to transfer between classes. They have a lunch that's 22 minutes, and on the back end of their lunch, they have a lunch study hall. And in that lunch study hall, twice a week, they go to what is called our class, which is Success is Cardinal. Our Success is Cardinal class is a transition program that we have for our 9th graders to help them transition into the high school. We talk about things like history of Mentor High School, ins and outs of Mentor High School. We talk about study habits. We talk about what it means to be a good citizen. We talk about your options that you have as you go through high school and what options, because we start planning for college and career after high school, and we start doing that at Success is Cardinal. We did invest as a district in a building in a new program called Naviance. Naviance is a college and career planning web-based tool. It'll help students plan what they want to do in high school, and it lets them know, really from a nice standpoint that we like it, is it helps students kind of search colleges and get an interest inventory to kind of see what interests them, and then it'll help from their interest inventory tie into what colleges would be colleges that they could likely attend for that interest. But as they go through and their GPA changes and their classes changes and they start to take the ACT and SAT, all that data gets put in, and then they can go to a college and it can determine where they fit best and what's the likelihood that they would get into colleges that they have marked as colleges that interest them. And then in junior and senior year, they will start to go through the application process in through Naviance, and they will do it all through the web base. So it's something that we're very excited about. We've instituted this year. It'll be very familiar to your sons and daughters, and they will learn a lot about that in Success is Cardinal as freshmen. One of the questions that all the kids want to know and parents want to know, they will each get their own locker. They don't share their locker. And in PE class, they also get their own locker. So these are things that we know that parents always have questions on and students always have questions on, so we share them now, and we will again reiterate that with the students when they come up in August for our freshman orientation. The biggest difference between middle school and high school is that you get a ton of choices. We are bigger, and with bigger becomes better, is what we believe. We have lots of options for students. We have different tracks for students based on what they plan to do. We have a lot of options with electives. We have a lot of extracurriculars that they can get involved in. We have a lot of sports team. We have intramurals for students who don't want to play high school sports but still want to be actively involved. We have a wide variety of clubs and activities. The one thing that amazed me 3 years ago when I came to Mentor High School from Riverside was the number of clubs and activities that we were able to offer our students that many other high schools in Ohio, especially in Lake County, cannot. We can make Mentor High School as big as you want it to be or as small as you want it to be by what you get involved in. And there are many different opportunities and programs for our students academically and extracurricularly for them to get involved, which is great. One of the big things too that I think parents need to realize in freshman year, again you'll hear me say this a lot, it's kind of my mantra to freshmen, is what they do now dictates what they can do in the future. Their GPA really starts if they have not taken any high school level courses in the 9th grade, and those GPAs will stay with them as they transition through high school and go to each of the different levels, and it will determine what colleges potentially that they can get into, what post-secondary options. It will help with career tech, as Mr. Crow will speak to in a second. It will determine if they can do post-secondary educational options, which some of you received that information in the mail that we have to send out by law. It said, are you interested in post-secondary option, which is where students are able to attend college classes at a college campus for free at the cost of the district, not to the parents, and they get high school and college credit. But to do that, you have to maintain a 3.0 average, and if you don't start planning that now in your freshman year, there's no way you'll be able to meet that typically, because most colleges don't accept students until after their sophomore year. So you have received that all as 8th grade parents because your sons or daughters are transitioning into the 9th grade. However, many of the colleges that are close and local by in Lake County don't accept students unless they're beyond their sophomore year. So we had to send it to you. So if you have that paperwork with you, that's why you did receive it. There's a huge emphasis on academic achievement, obviously, because then relates to the GPA. Courses are more rigorous because now we're planning students for end-of-course exams that are coming up with the new next generation assessments. They're more rigorous because we're preparing students for that next level, whether it be for 10th grade, 11th grade, or so that they can go on and do post-secondary work at a 2- or 4-year college. The consequences for failing courses become more critical, because you have to have 21 credits to graduate Mentor High School. You may not pass all of your courses, and you may move up with your unit and still be considered a 10th grader, but you may only have 3 credits. If you only had 3 credits when you're a junior or senior, just because you've been here for 4 years doesn't mean you're going to graduate. I think is the easiest, and I think we all as parents and adults get that, but sometimes students don't always recognize that. So the consequence for not only your grades matters, but you have to earn a certain number of credits then to transition outside of Mentor High School. Students can be successful. A lot of high school, again, as they're transitioning from the middle school to the high school, it's a lot more independence. That doesn't mean, parents, I don't suggest that you just say, hey, now you're in high school and let them free and see if they sink or swim on their own. No, I think you still have to heavily be involved and have, working with your students and making sure you're checking on Infinite Campus, because our teachers do update those grade books regularly to see where they're at. But it's getting them to say, hey, it's the discussion, you know what, you're getting a C right now in math and you've never had a grade this low in math before. Have you talked to your teacher yet? And getting them to start to do that a little bit. And then maybe you contacting the teacher via email or phone to see where they're at if they haven't contacted you yet. But it's getting that your son or daughter to start to do that independence, because again, in 3 or 4 years, it goes by very quickly. They're going to be going on to life outside of high school. We want to make sure that they're prepared. Time management. A lot of times, especially with freshmen, the reason why we see them struggle in classes like art or world language and Spanish, for example, specifically, is because they're not managing their time. They're focusing on maybe their core classes, or they're not managing their time well to make sure they're getting their projects done. They're not taking things home. They're not very organized. They really have to come up with a plan. We allow students to use electronic devices when it's appropriate in between class exchanges. In classes, a lot of teachers are integrating those into the curriculum, so there's no reason for them that they can't use those calendars or those apps that they have to help them organize their material, to take photos of assignments so that they don't forget. A lot of teachers use Twitter to allow students to notify them what it is. They have web pages, and so there's lots of different things to help students be organized and make sure they're using their time management. Good study habits is they're going to have worked into their day at least 1.5 study halls typically, so there's no reason why they can't be doing a lot of that studying here, but it doesn't mean they shouldn't be taking things home and reviewing their materials daily so that they're prepared. And the big thing too is in high school, I'm never going to get in front of you as parents and say this is the perfect high school, we live in a utopian society, and that there's never anything that they could do that would get them in trouble here. You know your sons and daughters, they are kids, they will make mistakes. Part of growing up is making mistakes and learning from your mistakes. And you'll never hear me say that there's not situations that are negative at this school. Do we have drugs in the school? Unfortunately we do, but that's a consequence of society. There are drugs in society, there's drugs at every high school. We work with our students to make sure they're making good choices, but it's good, it's still that communication between the school, the home, and the teachers to create an environment for our students that's productive. We take a lot of steps and strategies to make sure students are treating each other with respect. We don't tolerate bullying here, and if it goes on, students are disciplined. We notify their parents, we notify the counselors, there's follow-up. We don't tolerate those types of things at Mentor High School, but again, when you're in 9th grade, 10th grade, your sons and daughters, as you know, will start to make choices that may start to stray from what your family beliefs are, but it's working together with you as parents and us as a school to keep them on track. So there's a lot of independence at the high school, and a lot of our kids do very, very well here. They're very, very successful. And we don't have a lot of issues with drugs and alcohol and fighting and bullying, but they do occur here. I think we have to continue to work together as a community and as a school to make sure that students know the difference between right and wrong, and that we hold them accountable, and we have high expectations for your sons and daughters so that they can be successful. Because again, what we're trying to get them to is from where they're at now to be successful once they leave high school. If we, the biggest sign of success I think for a school district and a community is what people do once they leave Mentor High School. Where are they 10, 15 years from now? How successful are they once they leave? That's when we know as parents and educators at a high school level that we've been successful. So for the class of 2018, like I said, kind of getting into the nitty-gritty, transitioning topics now to what students need to do for scheduling, is all kids need to have 21 credits. They're going to need 4 credits for English, 4 credits for math, 3 for science and social studies. All students have to take a half credit of PE, which is 2 classes, because each class of physical education is a quarter credit, a half credit of health, 1 credit of either business, technology, family, consumer science, art, music, or world language, and then 5 elective credits. That will get them to their 21 credits. Freshmen take 6 classes first and second semester. As sophomores, they'll take 6 classes. As juniors, they have a little more flexibility in their schedule, and they only are required to take 6 one semester, 5 the next. And then for senior year, they only are required to take 5 classes each semester as a minimum. They can take more than that, but that is the minimum they would need to kind of map out thinking long term for your plan. Not to be confused with the Mentor High requirements. If your son or daughter is college bound though, there is a college core that you have to be familiar with as well. And it's very similar to what we had up on the previous slide. And this presentation will be on the website for you as well. If you go to mentorhigh.com and go to the guidance webpage, it will be located there. The college core, the biggest difference is it goes into a little more detail. Students have to take 2 years of world language. Some colleges prefer 3, and then 1 credit of visual, performing arts, music, or art. Kind of going to the college course. So there's a little bit difference between what we require to graduate and what colleges are looking for. I think it's important too to set up high expectations for our students. It'd be great if every student walked out of Mentor High School with an honors diploma, so this is why we talk about this with parents now. In the honors diploma, there's 8 criteria. You only have to meet 7. This is our most rigorous aspect of the diploma that we offer here at Mentor High School. So basically, the students would have to meet the requirement in any of those 8 areas, but they can meet 7 of them. So what sometimes you'll see is students may not have the ACT or SAT score, but they've taken all the other requirements for up here, or they have the ACT, SAT score, and maybe they didn't want to take the 4th science class because they were a music student and they wanted to double up in something in music because that was more of a passion for them. So you have some flexibility. You don't have to do all 8. You have to meet 7 of the 8 requirements. For career tech, students who do go into career tech education, which is a tech prep program that Mr. Crow will speak about here shortly, there are some differences because of the tech prep. They are not required to take foreign language or fine arts. But they now have to take 4 units of career tech electives. So students who go into the career tech programs are able to get the honors diploma. It just looks slightly different. And I think one of the things that Mr. Crow is going to stress on, and I'll say it as well, is career tech has really changed over the last 10 to 15 years. It is all college prep based, and there's many different opportunities for students. It's not like career tech was when maybe you or I were in high school, and it was kind of more into the trades, and there's a lot of different aspects to it nowadays. So Mr. Crow will speak to that, and I think it's a great opportunity that we're able to offer our students here at Mentor High School. Every freshman on their schedule should have English, math, science, and world history based on their appropriate level or teacher recommendation, and they will all take a semester or quarter credit of of physical education. So all of your sons and daughters will have that. What that will look like from family to family or student to student within the family even, or from friend to friend, will be different. Because some of them may be in honors geometry as freshmen, some may be in Algebra 1, some may be in regular English 9, and others may be in college English 9. So there's, again, a wide variety of different schedules, but everybody will be in these 5 classes here, and they will also take 1.5 credits of electives. And their electives, again, can be anything in art, music, world language, business, technology, and family consumer science. And we'll talk about what those options could look like in a little more detail here in a second. But when you're helping your son or daughter schedule, and they're going through the course selection sheet, and they're filling out this sheet at home for the schedule planner, make sure that they have those 5 classes, because those are the 5 classes that they must have. Again, in the English department, freshmen, there are 3 levels of English. There's the regular English, college English, and honors English. I would speak to your, for all these recommendations, make sure that your son or daughter or you are speaking with their current English teacher or guidance counselors to make sure they get put into the correct place. Mr. Casella will speak to it in a second. If you have a student athlete, for example, this is where, again, this planning now dictates what you can do in the future. If you have a student athlete that has the potential to play Division II or Division I athletics, you need to start planning that now. It's weird, I know, I understand as a parent, because even at a freshman level you may not understand that, but the NCAA has a clearinghouse which requires student athletes to meet a minimum academic requirement. So all of their classes have to be college prep or higher. So for example, if your son or daughter is going to potentially be a Division II or Division I athlete, they need to be taking college or honors English. The clearinghouse won't accept English 9 regular. So again, this is where this information becomes very important, and that's why we share it with you now, because we know what types of problems it can create even as late as right now if you're a freshman and your son or daughter would maybe not be in the right class. So we need to start having those discussions now. Math, there's a wide variety. There's Algebra 1, Algebra 1 honors, geometry, geometry honors. Some of your sons and daughters are already currently maybe in Algebra 1, so next year they would take geometry. There's 2 options in science. Students will either be in Physical Science 9 or Honors Biology. And there is a prerequisite for Honors Biology. The students have to be in Honors English and Honors Math at the same time, and it's based on teacher recommendation only. There's only really one specific social studies that they have to be in. They have to be in world history, but there are some electives in social studies, world affairs, and world geography. Some of those classes, again, for the electives, especially in the core areas, are a little bit tougher for the freshmen to get into because they get filled up very quickly by juniors and seniors, because those are the classes that they need to take to kind of make sure that they're hitting the requirements for graduation and credit-wise. For physical education, some of our athletes, male and female, take conditioning to replace their PE, but you can take a conditioning or a traditional PE class. art. They can take art exploration or fine art, because they have to, a lot of students need to get that fine art requirement. What I will give a heads up to parents with art is we see a lot of students who struggle in art for the simple fact that they don't have good time management. So they're not good at making sure that they're hitting their project deadlines, and it causes them to struggle in art. So if you have a son or daughter who is interested in art, just please stress to them, again, it's going to be about time management, because there's a lot of independence on making sure you're getting your projects completed, your pictures created, your paintings done. Again, and the teachers work with the students to kind of make sure they're hitting those deadlines, but we see freshmen specifically who struggle in this class because of their time management. And then it's the first quarter, and then they've never had a grade below a B, and maybe they have a C or D because they didn't get everything completed. And the teachers will work with the students and the parents to make sure they do get it in. But again, it's always kind of a culture shock for the parents, because they think art elective should be a relatively easy class, and it is if your son or daughter stays on top of the time management piece that we spoke of earlier. Lots of different choices for our students in business and computers. I won't read them to you, but there's a wide variety of offerings for our students, because business obviously is the #1 major in college, so we try to provide our students with a diverse background in business and computer science. And obviously I think we all can appreciate computer science is a growing avenue for our students, and our students do very, very well in that as well. Family Consumer Science has a litany of different classes that students can take, from sports nutrition to gourmet foods to international foods to parent and child classes to teen choices and family living. There's a lot of variety there. I would encourage parents to have students look at the program of studies to get better description on those classes, or you can see Ms. Banks out in the hallway after to talk to her about maybe some things that your son or daughter would like to get into. I will let you know though, these classes right here are very popular, and they fill up very, very quickly. So sometimes it's harder to get into those classes as a freshman, but again, they have 3 more years to be here where they'll have the opportunity to take those classes. We have a fantastic fine art program here, which includes our art and our music classes. Our choir and our bands and our orchestras are phenomenal at Mentor High School. If your son or daughter is in those, you know that already, and we encourage all the students to continue into high school, because it allows us to have a fantastic music program here at the school. Tech ed classes is transitioning away from the metalwork and woodshop days that may have been around when you were in school to more of a engineering-based type classes. So we provide students with these opportunities to take, as well as freshmen to take those classes to kind of get into the technical education, which would be more of an engineering-based classes, some CAD, home maintenance and design, architect and civil engineering, which also are those classes that students can get into, which help them get into some of the kind of pre-career tech classes that students may be willing to take to kind of get them ready, that interest them. We offer Spanish, German, and French here at the high school. All of our freshmen will be in either French 1, German 1, Spanish 1, or if they've taken it this year, they'll be in the 2nd year of those languages. Again, I will stress to parents, world language a lot of time is often thought of as an elective, but I always kind of include it as the 5th core class with science, social studies, English, and math, because it does take a lot of time and effort outside of class. There's a lot of studying that it takes, because learning a new language is very similar to math. It's very skill-based, and the students have to take the time to learn the vocab and the conjugations, because if they don't, they have a hard time with the class. So again, if your son or daughter is going to sign up for world language, they're signing themselves up for like a 5th core class where it's going to be a lot of extra work, and they can be very successful if they put it in. But again, I think as kids transition up from the middle school to the high school, they think world language and they think elective. It's going to be a class I can just show up to and get a good grade in. It really is not. World languages are classes that take a lot of work and extra time for students, unless you have the propensity for language, which I know some of our students do. But again, on average, I always count it like the 5th core class, and we treat it as such. At this time, I'd like to welcome Mr. Crow up to the stage to talk a little bit about career tech.
Thank you, Mr. Wade, and thank you everyone for coming out tonight. What an exciting time in your child's life and in yours. So career tech education. The main thing to know about us is that we're not vocational education. It's not like when we were in school. We tailor ourselves to 4-year colleges, 2-year technical schools, and we do have students that do enter the workforce. In our programs, students have the opportunity to earn college credit. It's called articulated credit. If they have a 3.5 GPA in the course, they can earn college credit. It's through Lakeland Community College. However, they can take that to any college they want in Ohio and in most neighboring states. Okay. What is CTE, Career Technical Education at Mentor? First of all, we're part of a consortium with Eastlake, or Willoughby, Eastlake, Wycliffe, and Euclid. And what that means is we share resources. We fall under Lakeshore Compact. In the compact, we have 24 programs. I put an asterisk next to that because we're going to be adding a few more in the next year or two. So by the time your son or daughter is a sophomore, the year that they can actually apply for the programs, we'll probably be up to 25 to 27 programs. What happens is in the month of December, we have a marketing counselor that goes around to every English class in the foreign districts, and they present all the programs that we have. At that point, students fill out interest forms, and after that, they can actually apply during the month of January to February. Once we have the applications in, we sort through them, and then our teachers go out and they interview our students. So it's not just if you want to be in it and you have a certain GPA, you're allowed to be in it. You know, we're selective in the sense that we have a limited amount of space in the programs, and for some of our programs, it comes down to a safety issue as well. The programs are actually a 2-year program. So when I say that you apply your sophomore year, it means you're actually in it your junior and senior year. Some of the programs have co-op opportunities. It's just you're in class and learning. And you take a web exam at the end of the year. And if you score high enough, then you get your articulated credit. Our programs. There we go. As you can see, we have a large number of programs. Here at Mentor High School, we have early childhood education. We have marketing, business management. We have interactive media, and many more. At other school districts, we have culinary, we have cosmetology, we have some of our mentor programs are actually housed at Lakeland. We actually have the CAD engineering, CNC manufacturing, computer information systems, and I could just go on and on. Our students do very well at state competitions, and they do very well when they go into the workforce and or college. We've had students in our Cisco programs that go on to Carnegie Mellon or in other prestigious schools. We've had students in our welding programs that go on into a boilers maker union right away. We had a student that graduated 2 years ago from Mentor High School in our welding program, and when he walked out of the high school, he had a job already in the boilers maker union making $70,000 a year. And I really don't want to eat up any more of the time here. So if you want any more additional information, you can find us on the website, on the Mentor High School website under Career Tech. And Mr. Lynch, our department coordinator, will be in the hallway this evening to answer any of your questions, as will I. So thank you very much. Up next, Mr. Casella, our athletic director.
Good evening. Thanks for coming out again tonight, and appreciate you spending some time here with us. Obviously, our athletic program here at Mentor High is top-notch. We're very proud of our programs, and I hope that you take advantage of not only the athletic department and the programs that we offer, but also the intramural program that we have here at Mentor High. We offer 23 different varsity sports here at Mentor High throughout the year. Everything from your normal, I shouldn't say normal, but your big sports like football and basketball and things like that, to everything to our smaller sports of bowling, cross country, tennis, golf. We offer it all. So if you have an interest in any of those sports, start looking for them. Especially our fall sports. Our coaches will be offering and having meetings here coming up in the spring. Usually we go about it one of two ways. We either bring you to the high school on an evening to introduce you to our coaches and our program and talk about them, or these coaches will actually come to the middle school and meet with the students prior to the school year letting out. You need, in order to try out for any athletic team here at Mentor High, you need basically 3 things. You need to have a current athletic physical, and if you're playing sports in the middle school, you know what that is. An emergency medical card, and now a new form, which is our concussion statement. Those are all online at mentorschools.org. You can find those forms there, download them, print them out, take them to your doctor, do whatever you need to do. As far as when tryouts are and things along that lines, the first set of tryouts in the fall are August 1st is when all of our fall sports will start their tryout procedures. If you're a Twitter follower, we have a Twitter handle of @MentorAthletics. A lot of the announcements will go out via Twitter and through our school district websites about when meetings are, tryouts are, things along that line. So I encourage you to follow us there. One of the things that Mr. Wade touched upon, and it kind of goes along with what happens in this meeting, is eligibility. In order to play a sport here at Mentor High, you have to have two things from an academic standpoint. You have to be carrying at least a 2.0 GPA in all of your classes. And of those classes, you must be passing 5 full credit classes or the equivalent. So that's why it's important we tell a lot of our athletes to carry 6 classes, because if you do have that one kind of bubble where you maybe don't do so well, you still have a little bit to fall back on. As well as physical education does not count as one of those sports or one of those classes of the 5. So those of you, especially your freshman year, when you're taking that physical education class, in order for you to be eligible, you have to be passing your other 5 classes. So it's very important to kind of keep that in mind. And as Mr. Wade said, with the NCAA requirements, the college level is where you need to be. The regular level of college courses don't count towards NCAA eligibility. And I know, as he said, it's very difficult to think 4 years in the future whether or not you're going to be a college athlete. My suggestion to you is, if you have any inkling that it could be possible, that you take that college route. The NCAA has really come down on that, and they're really following very closely with the high schools when it comes to their requirements in the college level courses. We will be offering an NCAA information night later here in March. I'll get information out on our district websites and stuff like that. If you'd like to come, bring a speaker in. He's very good when it talks about the different NCAA requirements. And as he says, it's never too early to start planning that and listening to that. And it's all about the recruiting process and all of those things as well. If you have any questions about our athletic program, I'll be around for a little bit here this evening, or you can always reach me through the athletic office at Mentor High. I hope to see many of you out on the playing fields, as we have a fantastic athletic program, and I'm really excited to lead that department. So at this time, I'm going to bring Mr. Wade back up, and he'll have some closing remarks for you.
Thanks, Mr. Casella. Couple places you can always get information about Mentor High School. You can go to mentorschools.net. MentorHigh.com is our student-run website where we put a lot of general information and announcements up there for families. So you can go to mentorhigh.com. You can follow me on Twitter at MentorHigh. I do tweet out the daily announcements and celebrate the successes of our students, both academically and athletically. And you can also follow Mr. Casella at Mentor Athletics to get updates on athletics or events that are going on. One of the things I just want to leave you with is that we have a strong tradition at Mentor High School. And we are excited to have your sons and daughters coming up into the high school and helping us continue that strong tradition of excellence in the classroom, on the stage, on the field, our marching band, our plays and dramas, our music programs, our fine art programs. We have students that are recognized regularly in national and state competitions, both in the classroom and outside. So we're very excited to get you up here to our great school and continue that tradition. And it really goes back down to you as parents, your sons and daughters, and our teachers and staff working together collaboratively to make sure that they're successful. Don't be too scared about the fact that we are bigger. Again, like I said, we are big, but with big comes better opportunities for your sons and daughters. And there's many different ways that we can do things together to make Mentor High School smaller than the smallest school in Lake County. It's getting your sons and daughters involved in extracurricular activities, both in clubs and activities in athletics or the marching band or in our fine arts program. There are many things that we can do here to make sure that we're meeting the needs of your sons and daughters. And if there's ever anything that you would need, please don't hesitate to contact Mr. Diamond, myself, Ms. Gomori, Mr. Montgomery. We will work with you to make sure your son or daughter are successful as they go through their 4 years at Mentor High School. Because like I said, their success once they leave Mentor High School is really what we're striving for, and we have to work with them now to get them to that next phase. So I hope you had a good evening. I hope you found this information informative. If you have any questions, we'll be available after the presentation. And like I said, the department chairs from the various departments are available for any questions that you may have. Thank you very much for coming out, and have a safe trip home.